aware of this marijuana solution.
Hello everyone, my name is Robert Roundtree and this is the Marijuana Solution, and today we're speaking with a very special guest. His name is Erik. He is founder of Art 420, board chair of Minorities for Medical Marijuana, a huge supporter of veterans causes, and just all-around canna warrior. How are you doing today, Erik?
I'm doing very, very well, man. I'm blessed, and anytime I get a chance to talk with you, man, it's always exciting.
Absolutely. So the last time we spoke on the podcast, I believe, was right around. Was it before or after the show? But it wasn't. It was around the same time. I think it was after. And we're rolling up on that same time this year, and it's going to be down in Art Basel.
Yeah, absolutely. Has it been that long? Oh man, I thought I think we did an update earlier this year.
Maybe, yeah. No, you know what? I feel like it's been longer than it has. It was in the summer sometime.
But you know what? This year, I think that speaks to this year alone, man. It's just been such a crazy year, But a lot has happened in just a few short months. It almost feels like if we can run through the list of things that have happened in just this year, it would be, an outrageous list.
Yeah, it's a real outrageous list, and that's something that Jose and I were talking about today. Because I just met him down in Fort Lauderdale in June.
And doesn't it feel like it's been like years, man?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Jose is a great guy, man. He's one of my favorite, man. And, he's always been a huge supporter of Art 420 as well, just like you have. And, that's one of the most beautiful things about this year's show for us is that, we have made a lot of friends in this industry, a lot of people that we've connected with and been on the front lines with, man, for the last year trying to get things on track, here in Florida. And now to see us all come together at the end of the year for Art 420, it's like the closeout, event for cannabis this year. And, we're just, excited to be, putting this all together with, people we consider friends.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The show last year that was here a little closer to home in Central Florida was amazing. And just being down there during that time during Art Basel, it's really special. For those of you who don't know about Art Basel, it's pretty much a place to be if you're into art for that week of December.
Absolutely, man. Art Basel has brought millions of people from around the world every year, and for us, it's just it's so sweet because when we did the show in our first year. We always talked about, taking the show down to Art Basel. And so this year being the year that we chose to do that is just really exciting for us. The first 2 years, we had a huge success in terms of turnout and just support for the show. But this year, it's just been through the roof. Just the registration numbers have just gone completely through the roof this year. And we are doing everything we can to get prepared for it. To make sure that, this is the biggest and best Art 420 to date.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be. Speaking of which, what are some ways that people can help out with Art 420? Absolutely.
And we certainly will be volunteers and people to assist us throughout the weekend. So we welcome that support. Obviously, we can't, everybody wants to support it. We do get a lot of support, folks who want to support, and that's great, but I only choose people when we have something for them to do and that kind of thing. So please note if I, don't get back to you, it's a good thing. That means we have it all covered and taken care of. So, but people can go to our website. We have a link on the website to become a volunteer. And then ask you about, just what your areas of interest are, the areas that we need help in. And if, you're interested and you're one of those folks who want to get involved, we certainly encourage it. This has always been a team and family effort. So we always look forward to bringing new people in onto the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things that drew me to your organization is it's very inclusive and hands-on. You do a lot of really creative things, live art installations, hands-on for patients. The project Battle for Freedom. It's
Right.
it's amazing
Absolutely.
stuff, man. I really appreciate what you do for the community.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
One of the things with Art 420, when we set out to do this thing, we said we wanted to challenge that stereotype of cannabis users. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to present a different image, which we do with the art. But also, allowing people to see real people, to connect with real people. At the end of the day, we're all humans. And, that's one of the very fabrics of who we are, is to be able to connect with each other. So, for us, we use the platform as an educational tool. We use the platform to be able to connect with people, on a one-to-one basis. We're real. We're accessible. We thrive off of being there on the ground floor. So, we kind of are like a hybrid art company. We get that question all the time. What is cannabis inspired art? And, it's both a education tool to help combat the miseducation that followed Prohibition back in 1937, but it's also a way for us to really and truly show a different side of cannabis and show real human experiences.
Yeah, and that's really important to begin to normalize things. And I think it's a great platform and medium to spark interest in something that might otherwise go on, not talked about. There's still a huge stigma, especially where we're at here down in the South. I mean, despite having medical marijuana passed.
Absolutely. And even more than the stigma is the miseducation. I was just talking with one of my artists today, and they were under the impression it was still not legal, that the bill hadn't passed. And, I had to sit down and listen, I was there. I, participated in this. Me and, others around the state, we were there. We are a legal state. You can, have access to this medicine now. It's not down the road. And so, that's why, one of the things we try to do with the art show as well, is to take part of the reason we took it to Art Basel is to put it in front of a mainstream audience, to kind of not move away from the cannabis industry, because we love the people we connect with and we want them and they'll be there. But we also want to be able to make it inviting for people who are, unsure about cannabis, people who don't know much about it, people who want to learn what the new laws are, because there's still a lot of people, you would be surprised, who don't know, who just simply don't know. And so at Art 420, in addition to having the art there, we're going to have, speakers, and we're going to have vendors who will be able to help educate, the masses about what is happening here in the state and even outside of the state.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's something that was brought up time and time again at the grand opening in Orlando for True Leave, is a lot of the patients that I spoke to, a good portion of them veterans, amongst their circles, they're like one of the few people that are in the know that
Exactly.
you can get cannabis. And I see it on social media a lot. I spend a good portion of my day, not like a lot of time, but I mean, maybe 10 or 15 posts telling people, no, it's not just low THC, and or yes, you can get it. And that's something that's
Right.
really important, is to continue to carry that message and let everyone know. To me, it's mind-boggling, because apparently 71.3% of the population that can vote
Right.
for sure knew about it, because they voted and it won.
Right, but what I think happened is when session ended and we didn't have a bill, I think it got lost. A lot of people expected to hear something right then and they didn't. And so for a lot of people, they knew that session ended and we didn't have a bill. They didn't know about the special session, about the bill that was eventually agreed upon, So those are the things that, again, with R420, our organization, again, we use it as an education platform, but that's why we partner with some of the current license holders, because they have a need to do more in educating the general population. So, we've worked with folks like True Leave, man. True Leave has been, I mean, I know I don't even have to say it to you, but they have really led the way here in our state in terms of outreach, in terms of what they do in the community. They are a huge supporter of Art 420, not just here in our third annual show, but in previous things that we've done, like with the Battle for Freedom Project. So, we certainly appreciate all that True Leave does, but others are coming on board as well. We have our anti-conference event, and I know we'll run through all of the different events, but we also got Cure Leaf on board as well. They're starting to make a little noise here in our state, and so they're going to be a part of that and a part of Art 420, and we're in discussions with a few others as well to get them on board as well to help them see how Art 420 has been educating the masses, and how with their help we can do an even greater job. So, if you're listening out there, get in contact with us, reach out to us. There's still time for you to get on board with everything we have going on. We have tons going on during Art Basel Week, but we did that so we had it, a little something for everybody.
Yeah, there's definitely something for everyone. And I saw the flyer that you put out, was earlier today, correct?
Correct. Which one?
Yeah, the one that had the updated logos, because I noticed that
Right.
it had Cureleaf on there, and I thought that was really good to be able to get the hometown licensee to support something, right there. I mean, that's their backyard.
Right. I mean, they like I said, folks are starting to step up and understand. I know some organizations are still coming online, so for some of them, they're not quite at the stage where they're ready to get that involved and hands on, and we understand that and respect that. But we definitely encourage those who are already operating in the space. I mean, this is the opportunity. This is Art Basel will bring so many Floridians, so many people from Miami, so many from outside of the state, outside of the country. And this is a great place to make sure that cannabis is, has a bullhorn, if you will, to say, hey, wait a second, we are, a serious industry. We're not just all lazy, unproductive, and criminal. This is a very, a serious thing. This is, serious companies, serious, medicine. This is a real industry.
Yes, it is, and it's a rapidly growing industry, which we kind of highlighted on earlier, just the speed that things happen. It's really good.
Absolutely.
Sorry, it's really good to see, and I highly encourage all licensees, anyone putting in an application, to make sure you have some type of community outreach program, and some form or fashion. It's vital.
And if you have no plans to do so, then I mean, this is really not the industry for you, because it can't happen. I tell the story all the time about my mother, who is a diabetic. She's also a caregiver for an Alzheimer patient. But if you understand the conversations that I have to have with her in order to get her to even consider this as a real medicine, enough to ask her physician about it, you understand the work that we have to do. And so many different communities have been impacted in different ways. And so we have to make sure that we are putting, that's one of the things. And I put a lot of pressure on the current license holders, because they have to lead the industry. But even more pressure should be put on our state. I feel like we should have put much more resources into educating and outreach and making sure that even as we began to get these organizations online, that we were educating the Florida citizens, about what this actually looks like, what this is. I mean, you mentioned cannabis in certain communities. Again, at my Thanksgiving dinner, if I mention cannabis, most people at the table don't know what we're talking about. But if we say, weed or marijuana and so on, and we have to understand that we have to begin to change that. And the way we do that is through outreach and education.
100%. And that's the only way we're going to be able to change anybody's opinion or get a lot of people to open their minds, and a lot of times it takes repetitive outreach, and squeaky wheel gets the grease. You just have to keep plugging away, especially if they're a little bit older.
Yep.
Boy,
Yep. Absolutely.
man, around certain dinner tables, because I have two technically in my family, they're divorced, but one dinner table I can't even bring it up. Doesn't
Right.
even get brought up. The other one, it's totally fly. Like so.
Right. It's okay. But that's changing, and it's changing because of people like yourself, people like Jose, organizations like Art 420, M for MM. I mean, I could go on the list of people who are really putting in the work to change that stigma. And so many of them will be at Art 420, and that's why we laid out the week the way that we did. We wanted to be inclusive of the people who we've seen there on the front lines with us. You know what I mean? The people who, have been friends of ours, or we've worked together, early on in this, and that's what we brought together. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of organizations on board, and I think what you guys are doing is groundbreaking, both in like the way that you outreach the community, the issues you tackle, and also the scope. I've seen you do. There's been Art 420 stuff on the West Coast. Am I not mistaken? Like maybe Oakland, I saw.
Absolutely. We never saw ourselves as a strictly Florida company. And I mean, more to come, I'll tell you. The 2018 calendar is already filling up. And let's just say we'll be doing a little bit of traveling, spreading our wings a little bit. But absolutely, I mean, this platform is such an important platform, and it can do so much. We did take a trip out to California last year, and we did a few pop-up shows, around the 420 holiday. We've also had we worked with one of the artists who we're featuring in this year's show. We worked with her in Colorado to do a Battle for Freedom project up there, where we're doing the therapy. So, I mean, Art 420 is an international platform the way that we see it. We work with artists already from outside of the country. This year, I'm exhibiting an artist from Spain. I'm exhibiting an artist from Jamaica. I mean, it's just we recognize that we have something special here, and so we're plugging away at it every day. We're looking to go into communities all over the country, all over the world, and really present a different image. This is something I've said recently. If when we implemented prohibition back in the 30s, if all we did was write a law and made it illegal, then all we would need to do in 2017 is write another law and make it legal again. But
correct,
that's not the case. We wrote a law. We made it legal here in Florida. But what followed 1937 was propaganda, miseducation that really changed the way people looked at a plant. And we, as an industry, we have to understand that the only way that we're going to really change that is that we also have to present, as we're presenting new laws to make it legal, we have to present the proper education and propaganda to make sure that people understand and see this differently than they have for maybe 50 or 60 years when we're talking about baby boomers,
Yeah, 100%. And we have to know that it's like a multi-front battle. And what I mean by that is there's very different demographic populations that we have to engage and speak to in a way that they'll be receptive to.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things I love about the cannabis industry is there are so many different people from so many different backgrounds, socioeconomic status, ethnic background, race, sex. Right. Like it's very, very diverse.
Income. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And man, there are a lot of people, yourself, your wife especially included, that are putting in a ton of work right now.
Yeah.
A ton of work. And we've got another legislative session coming up, rolling up in a few months. What is something that you would like to see maybe going forward legislatively?
Yeah, I mean there's so much, one of the things I often joke about is when we went up to Tallahassee last year for, to get involved with things, we went up there with like a list of, 15 demands. And we walk in the door and they're like, okay, well, tell me your top three. We can discuss those today. And then you talk about those three. And then when you get up and you leave and they're like, okay, what was your top one again? And, you have to really become streamlined and focused when you're there on the ground. But, I think a couple things that you can expect from, my work with minorities for medical marijuana and just what I'd like to see personally. One, we want to continue to solidify the work that we did with the diversity language. We have organizations now who have to submit that diversity plan and really, get people into the organization. So, but their hands are tied, and right now the license holders can't outsource any of their work to to minority businesses. So, if I had a manufacturing facility as a minority, truly you couldn't outsource any portion of their manufacturing to me as a contractor. So that limits their ability to be able to bring in diversity in some of the more meaningful roles versus just in staffing. And we like that, part of it, and we think that's important. But we also know that we can get a lot more accomplished and get a lot more veteran-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, folks with disabilities into the mix if we can, open things up a little bit. So, we're going to be looking at some creative ways to try to get that done. But the other part of it for me, really and truly is social justice. That's the thing that keeps me, really glued to the ground floor, is that, I have, a lot of people don't know this about me, but my background before getting into the industry was in higher education. I was a college advisor. Yeah, I helped kids get into college. But I've also seen kids get arrested for cannabis and lose their financial aid and can no longer afford, school.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit more about those experiences? Because I've known plenty of kids that had the same issue.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like as somebody that helps a kid get into school to try and realize their dreams, and then something that you personally know to be true that's not bad for them per se, ruining everything?
It is one of the most frustrating things, that it's hard to put into words because, you see the system failing a kid, and there's no two ways to put that, because of the way that our laws are written. This person who depends on financial aid in order to better himself to live out that American dream of social mobility, moving from one social class to the next, is not necessarily killed, but very severely, disrupted. I have a kid right now that I still mentor. He came to me when I used to be the director of the Upward Bound program, which helps underprivileged kids get graduate from high school and get into college. And he was a student in my program at the time. And, I later left that program and became a college advisor at the university, and, caught back up with him years later and found out that, he had gotten arrested. And what was it for? Cannabis. And now here it is, he's with his girl. They have a few kids, and all he can do is work, minimum wage jobs. And he's, always dependent on, assistance from the government now, because he can no longer, he can't get financial aid to go back to school, and he can't make enough money to pay for class on his own. And so we look at the system, and, people are always saying, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And, I'm always, definitely one who doesn't take excuses, and, I don't like to make excuses, but really, we got to look at the hand we're dealing people sometimes, and look at the situations we put folks in, and we can do better. And so, I was asked once on a radio show, if I wanted to be a martyr by putting myself out there on the front lines. And I said, I never thought about it like that. That was never my, intention. But I'm a person of obligation. And when I see when I see wrong, it is difficult for me not to step up and stand up for what's right. And, that's why I got involved. That's why I've been in this industry since 2015, fighting to change a stigma that is, unjustly there.
Very unjustly. And it really derails, and sometimes, as we know to be the case, can completely disrupt a person's life to where they don't even recover.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially if you go to prison for some years, you can't even find a minimum wage job a lot of the times.
Yeah. And then what was even worse about that, what if you went to jail for cannabis and now you come out and they tell you can't work in the industry? But so
seriously, that's the case.
Yeah, exactly. And we have to be able to find ways to change those laws and and not find ways. We got to find the courage, and that's what it takes. A lot of our legislators sometimes are, they're weary about putting out certain things because they have to face reelection. And I get it. I trust me, I'm a research paper away from a master's in political science. I get it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you were elected to represent, people. You were elected to represent people who can't speak up for themselves, who don't understand the politics the way that you do. That's why you're there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And they're elected to be leaders, and leaders don't always do the popular thing amongst their colleagues. They do what needs to be done for the people that they work for, which is us, we the people.
Yeah. So that's why I said, it takes courage. It takes courage. And, we're finding that. I was able to find some very good allies last year. As you know, we've gone around the state with several of the senators and doing community outreach. And, we'll continue doing that with the people who have shown us that they are allies of ours and are willing to go to bat for us when the time comes. So, that's important. But I encourage everybody who can't be there, in Tallahassee, call, email. It's important. It helps.
100%. They get the message if you call. And if they don't answer, leave a message, send an email, call again. Be persistent. Because you have to remember this isn't the only issue they deal with.
Absolutely. And you're not the only one who may come to talk about this particular issue. We all have different interests, and politics is a competition of interests. And the better you can organize and get your interests, together and on one accord, the better you'll be able to get things done. So we expect some of those politicians that we worked with to maybe stop through at Art 420 this year. It's taken a massive effort to get done what we've gotten done here in Florida. And so, I anticipate we'll get a lot of those folks to stop by as well. 2017 has been a great year for cannabis. We got a lot of work to do. But Art 420 is going to be like a celebration, man, celebrating what we were able to accomplish this year and, getting us all ready and remembering why we, came here to begin with, so that we're ready for session next year.
Absolutely. This time last year, we didn't have anything. I mean, there's the amendment had passed.
Yeah. And it was
still no, nothing going on.
Well, I got plenty for you guys starting December 7th through December 10th next week. Art 420, the third annual Cannabis Inspired Art Show. We have lots of things going on for you guys. The gallery will be open to the public from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thursday through Saturday. And then on Sunday, it'll be open from 12 to 5. But there's action-packed, if you're a member of Florida for Care or Cannabis Lab, They're going to be doing a holiday party on Thursday night. If you're not a member, go join. They're looking to increase their membership as well. And you can get, invites to all of their events for next year. But, more importantly, you can get to network with some of the folks who've been on the ground floor with the amendment. On Friday night, oh my gosh, this is going to be, I think this might be the party of the lifetime, man. Minorities for Medical Marijuana, we're having our diversity and cannabis experience networking mixer. Again, it's complimentary entry. You can go to the art420.com website and you can find a link to get tickets to that. On Saturday. Saturday is going to be great. Actually, can I break an announcement here on the show, man? I haven't been able to put this out yet.
Absolutely. 100%.
On Saturday, we're going to have a few guest speakers, man. And we still got a couple names that I can't announce just yet. We're working on locking those in. But, a huge shout out to Jose Belen. He's become I guess an international face now in cannabis. And so, we're very proud to have him there. He's going to speak, tell a little bit about his experience, talk about, Battle for Freedom and what we did earlier this summer. We're also going to have Dr. Terrell Newton from Jacksonville. He's going to be there speaking, talking a little bit about the science of cannabis. If you have questions, that'll be a great time to come out. That'll be from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Saturday, December 9th. We also have a couple other speakers. Tereus Jarrells, used to play for Colorado State.
Yes. He was recently nominated for Advocate of the Year.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's back at it again at Art 420, man. He'll be speaking during that time as well. Roz McCarthy will be speaking. Who else? I think we're going to have somebody from True Leave speaking. They may have a little special announcement on that day as well. We got a couple other people that we're working on as well. So speakers on Saturday. We'll also have a cultural presentation Saturday afternoon. We're getting the Rastafarian community involved as well. Again, Art 420 is about showing all the different sides of cannabis and really showing not just how it impacts society, but also how it has impacted the human experience. And I think when you see the cultural presentation, you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about. And then Saturday night or Saturday evening, shall I say, if you are a doctor in the state of Florida or outside of the state of Florida and you're curious or still on the fence about cannabis, come out to the anti-conference event, man. No speakers, no presentations, none of the boring lectures, no CME credits, just a glass of wine, fine art, and great networking with other doctors who are already in the space, doctors who are already making recommendations here in the state of Florida. Come and ask the questions that you need to ask to some of your colleagues. Learn about how they're implementing this into their practice. It'll be a great place. Many of the MMTCs will be there. True Leave is certainly a huge sponsor of that event. Freedom Scripts, which is a pharmacy group here in Florida. They are a huge sponsor of the event. Curaleaf is on board with that. I cannot forget Cincy Magazine. That is just huge. Cincy Magazine is stepping
Excellent.
up. They're going to be there the entire week. So we're glad for that partnership as well. And then we're going to close it out on Saturday night with a huge party. The High Society Party, which is sponsored by Cincy Magazine. It is going to be absolutely bananas.
Oh, I can only imagine.
So pre-sold tickets are already online right now. You can go to highsociety.eventbrite.com and get your tickets. They're $20 right now, but I anticipate this event will not have tickets for too much longer. It'll
be sold out.
It'll be an event that you certainly don't want to hear about later. So go ahead and get your tickets now. And then Sunday, we're going to take it easy, man, and kind of close out the week. Open gallery from 12 to 5, and then shut it down and get ready for 2018, man.
Wow, y'all are doing it big. That is amazing. I love it. And the best part is...
Yeah, the biggest and the best so far.
Yeah, this is great. It showcases what can be done within the cannabis community and the industry when people come together with like minds, and
Absolutely.
you're getting
Absolutely.
support from everywhere,
Every
and that's great. I'm one of your biggest supporters. I always will be. I love what y'all do. Can you, since I'm a veteran and I talk to a lot of veterans, which today it was mind-boggling, Eric, how many veterans I met today. I mean,
Wow.
I think in the first 15 minutes, I'm not even lying, maybe like five or six.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
It's huge.
veterans, yeah, it's huge. I think Jose was telling me today. Um, by the way, excellent on having Jose and all the other speakers. I've spoke to Treyas Gerald's before on the phone for at
Right.
length.
He's a cool dude, man.
Yeah, super cool dude. He's definitely in it for all the right reasons. And what's the name? He has a clinic in somewhere here in Central Florida, doesn't he?
Right, right. I was talking to him about it a little bit. I don't know what the actual name, but yeah, he has a clinic that's helping people get their card, man. He the advocate of the year, I think, is a very good title for him.
Yeah, it's. I saw it on a list. There's a couple other Floridians. Boo Williams was on there. I forget what category. Michael
Yeah, yeah.
Minardi was a nominee for something. So Florida is getting
Big.
some love, and
That is. And you know why it is, man? Florida is always going to be one of the leading states in the country. Where Florida goes, the rest of the country goes. I believe that. I'm a one of those Floridians born here, always lived here. I'm from Florida grown for real, man. So we always have a way of influencing the rest of the country. So I'm not surprised that we're getting that kind of attention. It's great. If I could say something else too, man,
absolutely.
about the show. One of the most important things, if there's anything I want your listeners to take away, is get on the horn, invite somebody to Art 420 who is not on board for cannabis. Invite somebody who's not already a patient, who's not already in the industry. Invite somebody who is still on the fence. Invite somebody who you think could benefit from this, but don't know where to begin that process. That's who we want to reach with Art 420. So, I encourage you guys to, help us with that. Call a family member, call a friend, tell them to come out. It's a safe environment. Bring your kids. On Saturday, we're going to have the kids zone again, bro.
Oh wow.
So bring your kids. This is the type of event that you want to be able to bring out, the family and so on. So we encourage you guys to do that. But I think you were going to say something about the veterans, man. What were you going to ask me about vets?
Yeah. I got so sidetracked about Jose and everything else. The veterans. Can you explain a little bit more about what the Project Battle for Freedom, what it is
Yeah.
that actually goes on, and how it benefits?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's funny you said that in the first 5 minutes, or first 15 minutes, you met five veterans. One of the things that we saw when the very first year and the second year is that everywhere we would go out in public, we got, bombarded by veterans, and they love to share their story. It really was eye opener for us. I have a brother-in-law who's active duty Navy over in Japan right now. So we have a special place in our heart for vets and for people who serve. But we didn't know how much this issue of cannabis impacted them, and so we started the Battle for Freedom Project to be able to use the platform in what to really help that community and help them to get access to quality education about cannabis, using the art and art therapy and painting as another tool and resource that they can use even at home. So what we do when we do the project is we work with local artists, and we invite veterans to come in. We provide them with all of the art supplies they need. They create some art right there on the spot that they can take home. And then we try to send them home, we send them home with a art kit that they can take home and continue painting at home, continue to incorporate art therapy in their regimen at home. And while they're at the event, with telling them a little bit about some techniques they can use, how they can learn about different art techniques and art mediums. But then we also we try to have a medical professional or a physician, someone there who can talk about cannabis, talk about the science of it, talk about how it can be beneficial to them as a patient. So bringing new people into the fold, providing them, access to more education.
I mean, all of that is huge. Art, for me, it comes in many forms, and it's very, very, very therapeutic.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There, even if you think you're not good at art, you're good at art. Everyone out there listening, I just want to let you know this.
Yeah, for real. I mean,
everyone is innately a good artist.
Yeah, they have a saying in art that there's no such thing as a mistake.
No, it's not.
If you
not
are,
possible.
Yeah, because if you're manifesting what's in your brain, your vision, and that's one of the things we try to walk them through when they first start. It's different than when we do paint parties, or if it's been like a painting with a twist type thing that you've gone to, where the artist kind of walks you through and everybody creates the same thing. When we're doing the work with the veterans, it's important that we get them to put on canvas what is important to them, what they're feeling, get their emotions out, get what is in their head out, into the atmosphere. So we just encourage them to take a few minutes before they start to close their eyes, do a little meditating, and think about, what they want to paint, and then go for it. Create a vision in their mind, and then, work towards that. So, as much, I know it reinforces some of the things that they, learn in the military, but at the same time, it helps them to escape, that part, because, one of the things with PTSD is that your brain is kind of stuck there. You're stuck in active battle, and art is a way to help you release that. It's just like when you're reading a book, you can get lost in the pages. Same thing happens when you're sitting at a canvas with some art.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it, is to become so aware of what you're materializing right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That nothing else matters, and it's a relief. It's meditative. I some of my most meditative states have come through art of one form or another, mostly messing around producing, half good music, and photography, believe it or not. Like, I like to paint and stuff like that, but yeah, like photography, trying to like frame in a shot. My camera's been busted for some time now, so I haven't taken any more of those, but it's great. I love it. I want to do some of y'all's live art though the next time you do it. I'm sitting down.
Okay, yeah, man, absolutely.
Because the more I have thought about it as you've been explaining things, like, how it is when we're at events, like it's pretty high alert.
Right.
People are always coming up to you. Myself, I always feel like I'm like shortchanging people because there's so many people to engage. Like the response is overwhelming, and I encourage everyone to come out, get involved. However you're passionate about the plant, there's definitely a spot for you in the movement.
Absolutely.
And there's so many great things to do, like the Kid Zone.
Yes.
Tell us about the Kid Zone, because I actually missed it.
Yeah, so we did the Kids Zone at the for the first time at the Schizencephaly conference, but we're working on a couple others. In fact, I forgot to mention just had a call today. The Epilepsy Foundation will be there at Art 420 as well. Talking about epilepsy, and when they do their conferences, we're hoping to be able to work with them to provide the Kids Zone as well. Again, we try to provide some type of art and entertainment while always backing that up with education. And so when we did it at the Schizencephaly conference, it allowed us to give the kids something to do that was fun and engaging. And while their parents were there standing, we got to talk about cannabis. It's just like a win-win. But everybody gets to win in that situation. So the Kids Zone for us is just like a no-brainer. We have kids, that. We've talked about our kids. You have met my kids before, I believe, right?
I'm pretty sure. I don't
Yeah, I
remember
believe so.
where. I think there was a time that you had your kids and maybe Cheryl had judo with her at an
Yeah,
event.
yeah. And see, that's the thing about this industry. We're real people.
Oh yeah, and very family friendly.
Right. We are real people. We have families. Our families are involved in this. You know what I mean? Our family, my kids, they would tell you this is their art show as well. They are part of this. They get involved. They help us select the work. They help us, arrange things and so on. And it's just a blessing to be able to see this industry take off the way that it is. So, come join us and close out the year. 2017 was great. Let's have some fun. Art 420 is really all about the entertainment as well, and making sure that we all have a good time.
Yeah, speaking of entertainment, are you going to go to the Wu-Tang show?
I don't know if I'm going to get to do anything besides that. I mean, my life has been, I'm telling you, I was like a zombie at Thanksgiving dinner because, they're trying to have a good time, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I have 1,000 emails I need to send. I have so many other things I got to do. So after the show, I don't even know what my life looks like.
Hopefully
we're just
some rest, because you were
yeah,
you were putting in work, and I appreciate you taking so much time out of your night to speak with me. It's been enlightening.
absolutely,
I'm excited. I didn't know about one of the events, maybe the High Society events, or maybe I got it confused, but it's exciting. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be a great time.
definitely go to the website. All of it is there on art420.com, and that's 420 spelled out for the website art420.com, and you can find links to get tickets for everything. The only event that actually has an entry fee is the High Society party, and that's late night. The other events, and the exhibition itself is complimentary to folks. So all you have to do is just kind of sign up, ahead of time so we can get accurate numbers.
Yeah, that's an amazing value. Complimentary. And I
Absolutely.
mean, that's it.
Absolutely.
For the artwork you're going to see, there's artists from all over the world, all over the country. The submissions are amazing. I saw it with my own eyes last year. Everything they do is
Yeah,
great. Everything you're doing, I fully support. And you're a real blessing to the movement, not just in Florida, but like you said, Art 420 is international. And it's great
absolutely.
to see. This is the beginning of a really long, bright future of really changing the way we think about a lot of things in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I invite your listeners and everybody else to take the journey with us. So, thank you again, man, for having me on. I appreciate it. It's always a great time, always great discussion, and I'll see you next week down at Basel.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you next week, Eric. Thank you. Tell your wife and your kids, hey.
All right, man. Have a great one.
Thanks. Have a great day. You've been listening to the Marijuana Solution.
Aware of this marijuana solution.